attorney called the Craig Pettis gang a cancer to the community. The gang ran a multi-million-dollar business of distributing cocaine in the Mid-South, North and South Carolinas, Florida, and Mexico.
Craig was bringing in roughly around 500 kilograms of cocaine on a monthly basis.
The removal of Craig Pettis has severely restricted the flow of cocaine into the city, and the drug scene is still in a state of unrest.
Craig Pettis ordered his associates to torture and then kill Turner's son, Marcus. Pettis pleaded guilty to drug trafficking, racketeering, money laundering, and 4 murders.
This is the largest drug case ever in Tennessee.
He has destroyed so many lives.
This organization and the criminal acts that were committed by this enterprise were nothing less than a cancer to this community.
His last stop, Memphis, Tennessee, his hometown, and the place where authorities say he began his climb to the top of the drug trade. You can see heavily armed agents surrounding him as he's put in the back of an armored vehicle. From the private airfield, he's driven to federal court, a place authorities have been trying to get him for years.
There's no question that this is the most notorious, violent, most reprehensible drug trafficking organization that this community throughout West Tennessee, including Memphis.
That's why Judge Samuel Mays gave Craig Pettis not 1, but 9 life sentences. The multiple murders, a ton of drugs, and countless lives ruined.
The live grenade tossed into this club near McAllen, Texas just a few weeks ago didn't go off, but federal agents who investigated matched the weapon to other grenades used in violent attacks in Mexico.
Their purpose is to come to the United States and take over. And the way they take over is very violent. We're seeing signs of people being tortured and brutally beaten all across the United States, not just along the southwest border.
In an affluent suburb of Birmingham, Alabama last August, 5 people were tortured and murdered inside this apartment in a dispute over missing drug money.
What's new about it is it's at a level that we've never seen before, and quite frankly, the violence is just shocking.
Also alarming is the level of organization. Mexican cartel activity has been reported in places all across the country, from Miami to such unlikely destinations as Boise, Idaho, and Anchorage, Alaska.
It's almost like the legitimate commercial world. There's every distribution model out there.
It's corporate.
It is. It's extremely corporate.
Federal authorities say it works like this. The drugs are moved in bulk across the Mexican border to hub cities like Atlanta, where it's broken down in warehouses, shipped to other cities, then broken down again where it's sold on the street. The cash goes back to the hub cities, where it's packaged and shipped back to cartel leaders in Mexico.
As we put the pressure on, as availability decreases, as purity decreases, we're seeing continued violence as a result of that. We're seeing people wanting their money paid on time and things like that.
And when it's not paid on time, the cartels crack down on their own people. Last year, investigators found a man bound and tortured in the basement of this suburban Atlanta home, startling neighbors.
It's among us. People make themselves feel better by saying that's not really a part of my world. And, one of my jobs is to say, no, it is a part of your world.
As they try and stay one step ahead, federal agents say their best hope of stemming the flow is to work with the Mexican government in its efforts to crack down on drug cartels south of the border. Samantha Hayes, CNN, Atlanta.
The U.S. attorney called the Craig Pettis gang a cancer to the community and hopes this guilty verdict will bring some closure to the victims' families. A big victory for federal, state, and local cops. After 6 weeks of trial and nearly 5 hours deliberating, a jury found Clinton and Martin Lewis guilty on all charges except for the murder of Marcus Turner. The gang ran a multi-million-dollar business of distributing cocaine in the Mid-South, North and South Carolinas, Florida, and Mexico.
This organization and the criminal acts that were committed by this enterprise were nothing less than a cancer to this community, and a cancer that spread throughout not only this area of West Tennessee, but throughout this region, the southeast region.
More than 70 witnesses, 300 pieces of evidence, and 6 murder victims. The jury found the cousins guilty without a reasonable doubt. In an earlier trial, gang leader Craig Pettis pled guilty to similar crimes.
But it sends a message that we will not tolerate this wide-scale trafficking of drugs, illegal drugs on our streets. We'll continue to take our streets back, one case at a time, and that law enforcement officials that you see standing with me today on the federal, local, and state levels, that we will find you, we will prosecute you, and bring you to justice to the fullest extent of the law.
The cousins face mandatory life sentences in prison. They'll be sentenced in June. Jackie Orozco, ABC 24.
That's why Judge Samuel Mays gave Craig Pettis not 1, but 9 life sentences. The U.S. District Attorney's Office says this is the largest drug case ever in Tennessee. Multiple murders, a ton of drugs, and countless lives ruined.
There's no question that this is the most notorious, violent, most reprehensible drug trafficking organization that this community throughout West Tennessee, including Memphis, has seen.
Craig Pettis, one of the largest suppliers of cocaine and marijuana to Memphis and other cities across the country. He shipped millions of dollars worth of drugs from Mexico for years.
We as a whole in a community have been victimized by this organization.
The DA, Memphis Police, the U.S. District Attorney's Office, and countless of other law enforcement agencies worked on bringing down the drug lord for more than a decade. Pettis pleaded guilty in Memphis in 2009. 40 people who worked for Pettis have already been sentenced. Today, the drug lord got his day in federal court.
We believe that the organization is dismantled. This was the last, certainly the leader of the organization.
The judge gave him 9 life sentences in federal prison. Pettis pleaded guilty to almost 20 charges of drug trafficking, racketeering, money laundering, and 4 murders.
The work doesn't stop. We'll remain vigilant. Prosecutors like Mr. Pritchard and the fine men and women that make up the U.S. Attorney's Office will continue to remain vigilant. This is a day that we believe justice has been served, and hopefully this sends a message that while you may get by, you won't get away.
Parole is not an option.
Now, one of Pettis' victims was tortured before he was killed. Hear from the victim's mother coming up at 6. Reporting live in downtown Memphis, Jackie Orozco, Local 24 News. Joyce Craig Pettis ordered his henchmen to kill Lucy Turner's son. She's been following the Pettis case for years. Today, she says her son can finally rest in peace.
This is my closure day. Everybody has been sentenced. I can put this behind me. I can get peace of mind with this, knowing that he'll never get out anymore.
Tears of joy ran down Lucy Turner's face.
This has been painful for me. I'm Marcus' mom. You don't think of burying your child. You think of your child burying you.
Craig Pettis ordered his associates to torture and then kill Turner's son, Marcus. Pettis pleaded guilty to drug trafficking, racketeering, money laundering, and 4 murders. But Pettis' organization killed even more people than that and ruined countless lives. The judge gave him 9 life sentences in prison.
I feel sorry for the other family, but he has destroyed so many lives, y'all. So many lives.
Pettis was the largest supplier of drugs in the Mid-South. He shipped millions of dollars worth of drugs from Mexico for years.
You've destroyed so many lives.
Turner has custody of her son's youngest daughter, 11-year-old Marissa.
That looks just like him.
Thursday morning, she told her granddaughter closure was coming.
This is the last one. We can bury Daddy for good now.
Now, the Pettis family refused to speak with us or anyone in the media. There is no parole in federal prison. Craig Pettis is only 36 years old. Reporting live in downtown Memphis, Jackie Orozco, Local 24 News.